Hey, what's going on, all knife and tactical people out there? Um, there are two main reasons why I wanted to do this video. One, I don't see too many videos online about this knife, and I figure my knife or my knowledge on knife and or knives and the outdoors might help out. And then the other thing, I really want to know whoever has one, how are you carrying this? Because this spiky little pommel, more on that later, totally changes up the game as to how you will probably carry this. Anyway, to cover some very basic aspects of it, this is the Tops Missile Strike. I've always wanted a Tops knife. However, for the longest time, I've never seen a design that I particularly liked, and I don't know. I've always wanted one. I've always wanted a Tops knife, but just never really seen one that stuck out until I saw this guy. One important thing about this is that this, I forgot the guy's name, but when he designed it, this is supposed to be a fighter first, utility knife second. It's supposed to be like a total soldier friendly knife. The idea is that, yeah, you can fight with it, but also you can do other types of camp tasks or survival tasks, whatever you want to do with it. Cover some basic specs. The overall length is 11.3 inches. The blade on it is 6 inches. However, the actual cutting edge is less than 6 inches because of this little extra finger choil right here. It has a false edge at the top, meaning that this part is not sharp, but this part is. This part's an absolute razor, by the way. Tops did a fantastic job putting a really good edge on them. It is 1/4 inch thick, which is thick, by the way. This is the second knife that I have that is 1/4 inch thick, and you feel a difference. 1/4 inch is a lot of steel, by the way, guys. That reminds me, the weight is 11.5 ounces. And with the sheath is apparently 14 ounces with the sheath, so that's quite a bit of weight. 1095 steel. 95% of all Tops knives are used with 1095 steel, and they do something special to it. I forgot what it was. Excuse me, I got hiccups. There's some kind of weird, well, not weird. There's some kind of different heat treatment that they do with it. But overall, it allows for their version of 1095 to hold a very nice edge and just have a very tough overall appearance. 1095 steel is also very good outdoor steel for those who don't know. However, 1095 will rust if you just don't take care of it. A little bit of TLC will absolutely prove to be just suffice enough to take care of it. But anyway, where was I with the specs? So once again, you got a little extra finger choil here. You got a really nice finger guard right here, which is what kind of sold me on it too. Again, this is a fighter first and utility knife second. It has nice jipping up here. The jipping's more aggressive than what I would like. However, I'm glad it has jipping here to begin with. This jipping is, it's definitely solid enough to where if I was going to do a thrust attack, that it's not, it's going to do its job. And also this finger guard, my goodness, again, for thrust attacks, this finger guard is going to make sure that my hand does not run up and get cut on the edge. There's a lot of other knives out there that I just would not be confident enough to really use the edge in a thrust like attack and know that as soon as I hit something, my finger is going to run up and get cut with my own blade. Never good. Micarta handle scale, micarta handle scales, really nice material. I like it a lot. I think it's actually the only knife that I have that does have micarta handle scales. Actually, I take that back. I'm sorry. The SE4 that I have, I believe that's micarta. And then lastly, once again, this little spiky pommel. The spiky pommel thing is obviously for a couple of different reasons. One, to bash bad guys over the head with it, and then two, to use it as a pry bar or some kind of other spiky tool that you would not want to hurt your nice little tip with. So we don't want to use your tip. You can flip it over and use the spiky pommel instead. Now, the sheath. The sheath is where it gets interesting. Kydex sheath, by the way. Really nice Kydex sheath. And so, once again, this is where I would like to ask anybody who actually already owns this knife. How exactly are you carrying this? Because the way they advertise this is they advertise it as you wearing it around your belt. But the thing is, I would not want to do that. Here's why. Give me a second. The way I have this attached, by the way, you have to just bear with me. I can't hold it all up by myself. This is my belt system that I have when I run around in the desert, and I'm like a Mr. G.I. Joe kind of guy. And when I'm practicing swapping magazines and doing running gun kind of stuff, this is on the left side of my body. This is on my left shoulder. Okay, if you can kind of imagine that, right? The thing is, when I have this on my shoulder, I really don't notice it that much. It does not get in my way, and I do a lot of shooting prone, by the way. And this did not interfere with me when I was shooting prone. I thought that was an important thing to point out. It did not get in my way. However, if I would have had this on my waist, it would have been poking into me the entire time. And give me 1 second. So, here is a Glock field knife. And I'll just try to bear with me. So, let me turn it sideways. This is what I'm talking about. They are very similar in length. And yet, look at where the belt loop is. The belt loop is down here on the top's sheath. Which, like I said, I can't complain about their Kydex choice. If I may go back to what I previously said about why I was hesitant about getting a Tops knife, is because I actually never really liked their sheaths. Then they came out with this guy with a very nice sheath, and I like it a lot. But it forces me to change it in ways that I wasn't expecting it. Going back to what I was now saying, look at the belt loop. It's in the middle of the knife, versus the Glock one is way up here. With that spiky pommel, it would not have been protruding so far outward. Now, it would have still been something I would have had to deal with, obviously. But I like how this one just hangs lower as a result. So I'm just kind of curious if Tops were to make a sheath that comes all the way up here, and then the belt loop is up here. Then that spiky pommel will not be digging into me as much, or I would not be as concerned about it. But that was just one thing I wanted to really point out. Trying to think what else I should cover. Not really sure what else to say. I just know that I wanted to at least do a review on it before I get it all scuffed up, since it looks all nice right now. But what am I going to be using this for? This is going to be a knife that I'm going to intentionally find something to use this for. I have better knives that are more suited for the outdoors. I probably have 2 other knives that are just as good for fighting. However, this knife is definitely the king of the fighters for what I previously have. If I was going to go into a combat situation, even though I will never be in a combat situation, but if if the lights go off and don't come back on, what knife am I going to be arming myself with? It's going to be this guy. By the way, made in USA. What else? What else could I possibly add? I think that's about it, guys. Just wanted to, like I said, give my 2 cents. And that's it.